Welcome students. I am Dr. Pradeep Johnson, Associate Professor of Department of Mechatronics Engineering. Today we are going to discuss about ergonomics. What is the importance of ergonomics with regards to industrial safety and environment? Now when we talk about ergonomics, there are 5 important aspects that you have to look into it. Number 1, safety. Number 2, comfort. Number 3, ease of use. Number 4, productivity. And the fifth one is aesthetics. So based on these aspects of economics, we have to give the economic principles and we have to design a product based on these ergonomic concepts. So obviously when we design something, we have to give importance to safety and the comfort of use and the ease of use and how it is aesthetically appealing. So what are the different facets of economics? So the number one we can prioritize as safety. Why is safety so important? Because if you say, for an example, in the case of a medicine bottle, if you are not able to see the printed display or the printed labels properly, say for example the dosage and other relevant details, if it is not visible, then your dosage level will vary and it should have proper print. Not only that, it should have proper color so that it is easily visible for elderly person also. And next example of a facet of ergonomics is about comfort. Say for example, when we have an alarm clock display, it should not be too bright. Okay, in a dark surrounding, if it is too bright, what will happen? It will cause discomfort to our eyes. Okay, and that will cause not only a lot of problems to the eyesight, and it will have an irritating feeling also. So here a comfort with respect to ergonomics is important. And another important facet of ergonomics is ease of use. Say this example can be quoted in the case of a street sign. So we can see that the street sign should be clear. Only then you will be able to read the street signs and then you can move. For example, if you are moving in a highway, if the street signs are blurred or if it's not visible, then sudden change of lanes is not possible. So one of the important facets of ergonomics is obviously ease of use. Then we move on to the next important thing is productivity. Okay. So when we talk about productivity, how far it is good compared to the regular products. So in this case, we can say, for example, comparing a regular TV to your high definition TV or an LED TV, say with a sound bar and all attached, you will obviously see an improvement in not only the picture quality but also the quality in terms of sound output. So this productivity or performance enhancement plays also a vital role. And the final important part is aesthetics. So what do you mean by aesthetics? Okay, it is nothing but the look, feel. Okay, for example, the signage, the signboards that you have, it should be aesthetically designed in the sense it should be attractive. Okay, so that, for example, in front of a shop, if you have an aesthetically attractive signboards, people tend to go in automatically to see what they offer. So that's why aesthetics is also important. So that applies to all the products that we design also. So general safety rules or safety ergonomics, it is widely used in different aspects. For example, for providing procedures, practices and productivity, safety, all these aspects are included in terms of ergonomics. Okay, not only that, when we talk about ergonomics, we also talk about the environmental standards. So if we have a proper ergonomic standard followed in our procedures, then we will be adapting to the environmental standards also. So moving on to the next aspect, it is for standards for office ergonomics. So what is the use of office ergonomics? So obviously to improve the productivity in an office, okay, you should have a proper ergonomic setup in an office. For example, we have to have proper designed tables and chairs, and so that when you work long time, it doesn't affect your back. And also the proper spacing, and for materials to be kept, all these things should be a standardized format. And not only that, so visual displays in an office environment should be good, and also we should ensure that there is proper lighting, and the noise is reduced, and also there is proper ventilation. So lot of injuries can happen in a workplace. For example, people sitting in front of a computer for hours together, they can suffer back, neck and spinal injuries. So these can be reduced, okay, by having proper ergonomic standards in an office environment. So we have to combine these standards, and we have to specifically deal with these things in our workplace. For example, you have to give awareness and training to the people employed there. Only then it can elevate or improve the standards followed in the workplace. So moving on to this next aspect is about thermal ergonomics. So what do you mean with thermal ergonomics? So thermal, obviously it involves heat, okay. So it deals with the thermal aspects. For example, people are fire protection agents, like firefighting agencies, they need to have proper protective clothing, okay, who work in extreme environments. And there are certain norms like ISO TC 159. So these are all committees that standardize certain factors in ergonomics. So firefighting and all these aspects, we need to have proper ergonomic standards. So in this case, it involves thermal ergonomic standards. So not only that, how do you interpret these standards, and how far it will be giving a stress on the workers, and also the assessment needed, so that we can work in different environments like hot and cold. The next important aspect is machine ergonomics. What do you mean by machine ergonomics? So we have to have certain standards while we design a machinery, so that we can have proper size in case of access openings or whole body entry to the machinery. All these aspects need to be taken care while we design an industry, or industrial machinery, or any auxiliary machines also. So we have to implement all these economic standards relevant to machine safety, in terms of how much distance you have to keep from the core areas. All these things have to be taken up while we design a machine. And then comes the important aspect of risk assessment module. So we have to proactively evaluate, and we have to mitigate any economic risk by tracking and trending the different changes in risk to jobs. So over a period of time, we'll be having different risk changes in jobs. This have to be taken care of. And these risk assessments can be done by using RULA methods or REBA methods, and this will help to promote effective management of change by linking economic risk change with respect to the actions. So all these standards will help you to assess the risk, and thereby we can mitigate the loss. And we have also, in the case of risk assessment, a category called job hazard analysis. So where we can track all the hazard, and we can control the risks, and then we can understand the risk factors involved, and we can based on that we can codify this risk based on colors, icons, and then you can value how much risk is there. So we have to first of all visualize the impact on ergonomic risk, okay, and then only we can visualize what needs to be done. and then different iterations of risk can be carried out, so that in future we can control this risk, and also it saves time with many efficiency features, okay, so that we can have a risk assessment. So again, this task of risk assessment, it uses a powerful and configurable risk calculation tool. So this tool can incorporate up to 12 different factors, including the different probability or severity of the risk and the frequency of the risk. So based on these calculations, we can define the type of risk that can occur. So we can, based on this risk assessment, we can have a system generated job hazard analysis report, and based on that we can link to any incident investigation data, and we can know whether this machinery or this process requires any risk assessment. If needed, we can do a correction also. So this is one of the aspects of job hazard analysis. And what are the source of economic hazards? So it is basically involves where we have a repetitive movement. For example, in workplace, obviously we have to do a repetitive job, and also not only that, if you are having an uncomfortable workstation height and poor body positioning, and this also leads to ergonomic hazards. So if we term this ergonomics is nothing but the study of how a workplace or the equipment used in the environment that can be designed for comfort, efficiency, safety and productivity. So these are some of the ergonomic standards. And what are the source of economic hazards? Obviously confined spaces, virtual offices, office space. So all these things involve your physical movements also, and based on that you have to design the working environment based on your physical movements and the level of workload that can happen there. So these things can need to be addressed. Thank you.